Holiday season. It's almost Christmas, almost Hanukkah, almost Kwanzaa, almost New Year's. And we got a Crosse Commission podcast to tide you over for the holidays. Welcome aboard to the Crosse Commission podcast. The holiday special, so to speak.
Indeed.
I'm Ryan. That's Jake and Safe.
Hey, what's going on, boys?
I am a fan of the Washington Commanders and the NHL leading Washington Capitals. And I'm also part of the Crosse Commission. Happy to be here.
At least you didn't sneak in a Chelsea thing as well.
Yeah, listen.
How much are you guys enjoying this Man City collapse this year, right? Or it's still charges haven't been dealt out yet, but it seems to be a tough go about.
It's kind of funny, but at the same token, Man United continuing to wallow away is funnier.
What?
I mean,
explain the Marcus Rashford incident or situation in NFL terms.
The one with which was it, the whole thing about like where the other player's like brother was, because like supposedly like had like a burner account, like one of those like engagement bay burner accounts where he like posted like he would like leak the team's lineup, but only when his brother was in the team.
Really? I'm trying to remember where
what's this I don't know what the Raptor thing is. I know he got like benched or whatever for like a game, but there was one thing where it was like, so Garnacho's they think that like Garnacho's brother has like one of those like, you know, like one of those like, you know, blue check like, you know, fan accounts or whatever, and like sometimes he would like post
Man United whispers.
Yeah, or like, and sometimes he
Man
would post,
United
like,
in the know.
Like he would post the team's lineup like ahead of time, like before the team announced it. But it would people like went and checked, and it was only when Garnacho was in the lineup. So, and like this guy apparently like, you know, on I guess the, you know, burner like, you know, team fan like would just like constantly crap on Rashford. I don't know what the other thing with Rashford was. I know he got like benched, you know, for a game, but I figured it was just like something. So I guess this thing in like NFL terms would be if like let me think. Who's the like? Okay, so let's. I was gonna say the Jets, but that'd be cruel.
I'm just gonna say Aaron Rodgers.
God, who's another like really embarrassing NFL team this year?
The Chicago Bears.
Okay, the Chicago Bears. Yeah, Bears are good. Okay, so like Giants. So like, let's say the Bears like Caleb Williams and I guess like one of his receivers or whatever. It's like one of the receivers,
Komet.
like
we'll say Komet.
Like one of the receivers, you know, would like post, you know, I mean NFL lineups or I guess the lineup, whatever, you know, like but only when, you know, he was starting. And he would like every time the team lost, he would blame Caleb Williams. That's sort of like what it is, I guess.
Wow. I've never seen like it seems like it's such a fall from grace, right? 2 years ago, it took them. Didn't they win something? 2012 or 2022? But
2 years ago, Man United won the FA Cup this year, didn't they? Yeah, that's how they kept their coach. Like, they looked like they were going to let their coach go. And they won the FA Cup.
I remember that. Yeah, everyone's.
And so like they kept him, and then the
Vultures were circling.
And then the start of the season was a disaster, and it's like, man, maybe you should have just fired the coach to begin with.
Just pull the trigger.
Yeah. Anyhow, you know, speaking, you know, definitely nothing like that in college lacrosse. Anyhow, how's North Carolina doing?
You made Safe choke. Look at you, Jake.
They got a volunteer assistant coach. Didn't you hear about that?
North Carolina does?
Yeah.
Bill Belichick and Petro in the same room.
You got me on that one. That's good.
God,
Bill just
he's going to be doing face-off duties and stats. So. And the video camera, the camera equipment.
Bill hanging out
Easy
with
access. It's not too far away from Durham to Spygate on Duke. Only takes him 20 minutes out of the way each morning.
Bill hanging out with
And now
Petro
he just
at-
finds all these little these bugs all over his office.
the WikiLeaks. Remember the Wake Forest thing?
WikiLeaks.
WikiLeaks. That was way. Belichick hanging out with Petro at Carolina lacrosse practice, and like ESPN or Sports Illustrated or someone, like mainstream, confusing Petro for being the head coach would just be an unbelievable bit. It'd make everything full circle.
But I feel like
I'm just picturing
Belichick's
it now.
a type.
Bill's leaning on the fence, just in his shorts, Petro's got the UNC sweatshirt, this big old hoodie.
I have a feeling though that Bill would be bros with Bresci. Now, if this was like a Syracuse situation, yes, he'd be hanging with Petro. But in this scenario, I feel like he would be bros with Bresci and hanging out with Bresci more than Petro.
Petro's is day one. They go way back.
Oh yeah, over almost 20 years.
Yeah,
but see that Bill's a certified ball knower though, and would know who the head coach actually is.
Yeah, no, Bill will respect the chain of command for sure. But he's.
Oh no, he definitely would. It would just be funny, if you're just talking to Petro, because Petro's.
No, exactly. On the phone, the texting, it's deep.
And someone's just like Bill Belichick, senior with North Carolina lacrosse coach Dave Petramalo.
Do you know what they said, coach? Not head coach, but that nobody else will fact check.
Exactly.
Yeah, just some NFL account. It's just some
one of these NFL burner accounts.
Centel. But someone should start an NFL Centel account, right? Sentinel.
Someone should do that for lacrosse.
Like lacrosse Sentinel. Oh my god.
Jeff Teat is transferring to Denver.
No, the only issue is the lacrosse Sentinel will just be giving us all this nonsense about what D2 and D3 programs are coming and going, and treat that like the biggest thing in the world. If it's anything like any other lacrosse social media account, it's going to be overemphasis on men's D2 and D3 lacrosse. That's no disrespect to D2 and D3 players and programs, but
kind of sounds
our stance on how lacrosse Twitter overemphasizes it like no other sport does.
You got that out there like real quick. Ryan's a mid-season
I don't mean all of them, but most of them.
Ryan's like with the pitchers on spring training. He's already had like 93 and 94.
So neat.
Arm feels good.
The Jets season's over. Yeah, he's happy. Look,
it's already time to look forward to Mets season.
Where people break the chains. That's Ryan with like two games left in the season.
Yeah, look, Mets all they got to do is re-sign Alonso and they're set. Well, and maybe add some more pitching to the rotation, but
Ryan's already looking at the Syracuse schedule.
It still hasn't been posted yet. More on that later when we do our Jag later.
That's true. I mean, you can probably figure it out.
I'll save the joke that I have till when we do that segment because I have a good one. Because usually the joke that will go out, we'll touch upon it later. I don't want to give it completely away.
It's good.
But before I get into lacrosse, speaking of college sports, Jake and I. God, the college football playoff sucks, man.
Yeah, those are good.
I don't know what's worse, the action on the field or all the college football media on their social media. I know Auerbach and Vanini have been the worst offenders of it, but just the absolute bad faith pissing on my leg and telling me it's raining about actually this is a good thing that there are 4 blowouts in the first round.
It's very, this system and format, can't fail. It can only be failed, which is fascinating. I got to tell you, whoever at ESPN came up with the idea to pawn the 2 Saturday afternoon games off on TNT against the NFL, so they wouldn't get blamed for they wouldn't have the bad ratings. On the
find it. I was like, where? I thought it would be like on network. I was like, it's like everybody loves Raymond preceded it. I was like,
that's a great bit. Like, you got to give whoever came up with that idea, like, hey, there's gonna be 2 games here that just like get clobbered. What if we just like don't air them? It's just like,
Get TNT. We know TNT's desperate for content because they're losing the NBA.
what else are they going to?
So
What else does TNT ever show on Saturday afternoon?
It used to be old school Law and Orders. Yeah, we know drama.
That's true.
I
Die Hard
don't
with
know,
a Vengeance
DC
came
movies?
on. Die Hard with a Vengeance came on at 10 o'clock Saturday night. I saw that. I wasn't prepared for that. I saw that came on. I just saw like the whatever the intro is, where like the bomb goes off.
The sandwich, like one, or the actual intro where the bomb goes. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Then she had a bomb go off, and I was like, "Whoa, all right."
this is right at the
I'm
beginning.
locked
Yeah,
in.
you're like,
Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they have some DC movies in their back pocket that constantly
the mummy.
flopped.
The mummy used to always be on TNT.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, during the holiday season, they got the rights to some Christmas movies that they throw on every now and then. But like, yeah, Saturday afternoon. Who's so? I mean, I guess in that sense, still works out for TNT. Shout out to our buddy Chris who got a free trip to Happy Valley out of it. So
yeah. Now, is it the post game talk and everyone trying to like support their narratives that's annoying you, or the actual? Because I'm like, this is the first time we had expanded playoffs. Is like, everyone's
a bad faith actor. Everyone's a bad faith actor, whether they're an SEC homer or pro playoff. It's just or pro Big Ten, or everybody's a bad faith actor. It sucks. Nobody wants to admit it. They should have just gone to 8. Or I don't know. And this year, like they thrown around, I think there was an old SB Nation article back in the day, where like they suggested the number of teams in the playoffs dependent on how many teams are worthy of a shot of it. And they said, like, for this year, you just give it to Oregon. If Oregon wins the Rose Bowl, you give it to them. If they lose, you just have them play a round robin tournament against another team or two that have one loss or whatever.
Well,
like,
this was the
clear, or
this was the original +1 idea, which is that, I mean, which is like decades old at this point, but it was that you'd play all the games the way you normally would, and then like in the event of a split, or you'd have 2 undefeated teams. So like what was the last time this happened? I guess, I mean 2003, I suppose. LSU,
the Auburn USC year.
Yeah, it would be probably like the Michigan Nebraska one, because Michigan couldn't, because that was the Bowl Alliance when you couldn't like the Big Ten and Pac-12 were involved because they want to go to they state always we're going to go to the Rose Bowl. The +1 idea was that you play all the bowls the way you normally do, but if there's like 2 teams both undefeated, you just play one more game. So you like. It's some, predetermined, site, stadium, wherever, at some date, you play one additional game to decide the national championship. And if, but instead, if at the end of, all the bowls, one team is undefeated and, everybody else is not, like, okay, we're good. Like, we've got our, we have our answer, basically. And of course, the problem with that is, how many more additional games can you line up? But look, I just conscientiously object to the idea of a playoff. I mean, I just don't think college football should have one. But my thing is the, like, as I said, the idea that it can't fail, it can only be failed. It's like, oh well, there are always going to be blowouts. There were blowouts when there was 4 teams too. I'm like, yeah, I know that. That's why I said it wasn't good when there was 4 teams. That's why I complained.
Yeah, they're like, oh, well, the NFL, you know how many blowouts there are on NFL Wild Card Weekend? I'm like,
that sucks too.
Not like this.
Like adding adding the 7th team hasn't done anything except hurt the 2 seed who used to get the bye. Like,
yeah, and it's made the Bills have some scary first round games, and that's really.
I still think the MLB playoffs should only have 4 teams. Like. So
yeah, the wild card format up until this year was completely borked. I mean, this year you finally lucked out where the 2 number 1 seeds actually met in the World Series and not be like the 4th and 6th seeds. Like we lived through a Texas Rangers versus Arizona Diamondbacks World Series.
Yeah, that was a rough one. All right, what we got?
What would you?
What news do we have in college lacrosse world?
Oh, Safe, you had some. What you got, Safe?
Yeah, I just wonder what would you do to improve college football? Like you have to at least be in your
blow up
conference championship game?
realignment. Yeah, blow up
Yeah,
realignment,
that's
make the
really
conferences manageable again, and go from there with an 8-team playoff, I guess.
I mean, if you gave it to me my way, I'd just I'd go back to it wasn't like 1998, like or not even that, like 92. The BCS is like so. This has always been my view. One, I don't think there should be a playoff. I really don't. Like I genuinely don't think there should be one. But I don't think there should be anything. Like I like just go the way it was and let everyone play in the bowl game and then let the friggin' like writers listen. It was good for the newspaper industry. Yeah, bring some jobs back maybe. Stimulate the economy.
Content.
Yeah, like but if you had to make me pick, I'd either say go back to 2, or just say say F it, blow it up, and just go to 24, and just give everyone who wins a conference an automatic bid. So like let the freaking MAC be in the playoff. Let like if the argument is that like they're all going to be blowouts, why don't I just watch Oregon play like Bowling Green? Like I don't know, like it's like I don't get what I'm getting out of like watching
the 4th best team in the Big Ten, or get blown out, and then the other conferences, homers complain about how the 5th best team in their conference missed out and would have made a better game.
Dude, Tennessee stunk. Like I knew Tennessee was Tennessee did nothing this year. And look, I get it. Like I'm not even here to like say that none of these teams shouldn't have been in. Like I'm not one of these people like Indiana shouldn't have been in. Sure, like the problem is like they straight up didn't play anybody. They had like a North Carolina out of conference schedule. Worse. Yeah. Like worse.
Yeah, according to their parameters, they deserve to be in. The issue is teams 9 through 12. Like you could argue Clemson deserved to be in because they won their conference, but like
so just give auto.
You could have just done this with 8.
How many conferences do they have?
5.
I'm talking about like we still got the MAC. We've got the AAC.
Oh, there's 9 conferences now.
9 conferences now. Like just total, even like Mountain West, including all those. There's 9. Yeah,
it's your P4, Mountain West, American, MAC, Sun Belt, Conference USA.
That's it. Wow. Damn. Okay, we'll bring the Pac-12 back. That gets me 10. So like change realignment. That gets me to 10. So do 10 automatic qualifiers.
I was just joking. I was like, they're not going back. They're not going to give back the money. So,
I mean, no. Like, yeah. Listen, I mean, yeah.
Maybe Pac-12 can eventually, because I saw they have some plans for the future. But yeah, UCLA.
So give me 10. So I get 10 auto bids, and I get 14 teams in.
Honestly,
24.
Jake, if I'd lean anywhere, I'd lean less is more.
Yes, that's what I believe.
Ryan, I think you said 8. Yeah, they really should not be more than
8. Yeah, 8 is fine too. Because I mean, the thing with 8 is it's such a weird like.
Yeah, and that it's gonna in most years it's gonna be 4 teams from the Big Ten or SEC, 3 from the other, and Notre Dame.
The thing 8 at least gives you is that it doesn't do the stupid. Why are there buys? Like
the buy and it hurts most of the teams that get the buys anyway. Like the 5 seed has an easier path to the championship game than the 1 seed does.
Yeah,
it makes no sense.
Well, and to me also it's like some of the arguments. It's like, well, you see the importance of the bye because teams are having injuries. I'm like, is that really the line you want to take here? So like, is that really the line we want to take? Listen, I understand I understand these guys are now paid. Or can be, but like, look, they're still not really paid by the schools, they're still not contracts here. Like, is the line we still want to take with, collegiate athletes? Oh, man, you see the impact when this team lost this guy to an ACL injury. Really? That's really the line you want to take? Is that like, it's really important to get a buy. So
I'm uncomfortable with the idea of like, again, you're right. They're not indentured servants like they were previously. To get notes.
Yeah, it's different.
Some of them get money, but it's just like they are still putting risk to like future earnings, like for no real reason than just like pure entertainment and content for like people who have an insatiable desire for that. So just like, are you just going to just like expand? So that's, yeah, we should find a limit.
So if I were to go to 24, the thing I would say is you get rid of conference championship games.
Okay, yeah. Just
So
give
like
something
that's
back. Yeah.
so there we go. We cut down one game there because like my thing, like the SEC. Why does the SEC have a conference championship game? You literally played. It's like when this, like you played a single table, 16-team league, and one team won the league outright by one game. That team won the conference. I understand that some teams are going to complain. Oh well, Texas's schedule was way easier. Well, listen, guys, that's what you signed up for. Like
that's your conference.
Yeah, you had these 16-team super conferences. There's no way around it.
Like
you're only playing half the league.
You
like
let
that line
Texas
from the social network. You're going to complain to me because you made a bad business decision with your own business. Like
and safe to your point about like the money is like, all right, if your complaint is well, look at the schedule we had to play. We have to, look at this SEC league now, and the Big Ten kind of works the same way. It's just USC wasn't good this year, and Washington went from number whatever.
Michigan had a down year.
So it's like you want to tell me that like it's unfair to you that you have to play all these big name schools in your schedule. I'm like, okay, are you going to give the money back then and just like let them go back to the other conference? like,
thank you for smoking. That scene with the Marlboro man, yeah, like you can be on the news saying the denouncing our product, but you can't take the money. It's one or the other. Like
that's part of
the money and be quiet, or don't take the money and then be sanctimonious.
It's like that's part of like as Ryan said, creating this super conference is that like you're gonna play. Y'all decided that it was worth. The risk reward there was better to have these teams in your league. So it's it's like all right, if you want to go back to having easier schedules, fine, but like. You're not giving the money back. You're not like I don't think no one's kicking Texas back to the Big 12 or sending USC and Washington all them back to the Pac-12. Like I don't think that's happening.
Righty. So what is in the news in college lacrosse in the past 2 weeks?
CBS Sports Network announced last week a 10-game Patriot League slate for spring of 2025. This was from I'm looking at the Inside Lacrosse schedule. So can I don't know if I can share my screen, but I will. Roll out the 2025 Patriot League lacrosse on CBS Sports Network. 8 men's games, 2 women's games, and also a baseball game if you're interested in that. Friday, March 7th, Lehigh at Navy at 5 p.m. The women's games are March 26th, Wednesday, Loyola at Navy at 6 p.m. Saturday, April. They're also airing the women's lacrosse championship game is airing Saturday, May 3rd on CBS Sports Network. I don't know if that has been the case in the past, but it will be. Other games Saturday, April 12th, Army at Navy. The Army-Navy game will be Saturday, April 12th at 12:30. Friday, April 18th, Friday night lacrosse, Navy at Loyola, 7 p.m. Saturday, April 19th, Lehigh at BU at 2:30. Friday, April 25th, Loyola at Army at 4:30. And then the Patriot League championship game, or Patriot League tournament, rather, for the men, will air entirely on CBS Sports Network as it usually does. So pretty similar helping of games to what the CBS Sports Network usually provides. March 7th is a little earlier. I think then they've kind of got on the air. But, I mean, let me just look up 2024 Patriot League, CBS Sports Network, TV. Yeah, it looks pretty. Last year was 7 men's games, 2 women's, 1 baseball game. What we got this year? Did I say 6? So it's pretty.
10 overall, 8 men, 2 women. That does include the postseason games, though. Does include the
last
three
year there
men's
were
games.
last year there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 overall, counting the postseason. So it's basically the same as it's been.
Basically the same, yeah.
In past years, no.
I'm gonna guess the baseball game's the Army Navy game. Oh no, it's Holy Cross Navy. Bill Simmons was on the edge of the seat.
So other TV schedules, ESPN's, usually the week before the season starts. Big Ten's usually right around there.
Week
pretty
of.
similar. Yeah, week pretty similar. So nothing really there. Athletes Unlimited, which had been kind of the, sort of women's pro kind of lacrosse, I don't know if it was a league necessarily, but organization has shut down due to player availability because of the news. We
do WPL.
With the Women's Lacrosse League from the PLL that will run during the PLL's Championship Series in January. Again, this is from the Inside Lacrosse Circuit. It said the league pledged to work with AU Pro for player availability, but seems as if that hasn't happened. I mean, I don't think that's necessarily surprising. Kind of saw this with like the MLL and the PLL, a couple years back. There's not really a market for multiple pro lacrosse, field lacrosse, I should say, organizations. And I think, women's lacrosse, certainly, there's not really a market for multiple.
We had a Mouse in the Palace in Halifax.
Yes.
Touch that.
Say if you got that one.
Well, I was just gonna, just saw that on IL. I just dropped the article. Sorry, but I saw the NNL statement. Ryan, I don't know if you have it right now.
Yeah. Well, it's been around the news over the weekend. It was actually in Colorado with a Halifax player. NLL said December 21st they were investigating it. A player on Halifax, Tyson Bell, got it involved with some spectators earlier today. This evening, it looked like video came out of the altercation as well. So NLL is still investigating that.
Yeah, this is from the IL article. Unauthorized, just inside lacrosse staff. But social media posts over the weekend showed Bell in the tunnel being pulled away from the barriers after reports of an incident with a fan. Video posted on social media more clearly shows Bell involved in an altercation with two fans, appearing to throw a punch at one and then strike another with a stick. And then they have one of the videos up there. And NLL's official statement. I love these. We're aware of the incident, and we'll comment at the conclusion of our investigation. They're aware. So,
sure, David Stern was aware when Ron Artest was over the scores table and in the stands. They were aware of it.
Safe, are you still with us?
Montclair State dropped their lacrosse team, their D3 women's lacrosse team, going to a club status. It's a little Jersey news. We'll be elevating, I think, flag football. Yeah. So,
flag football and I think esports as well.
We'll launch a Division III women's flag football program that will begin competition in fall 2025. At the end of the day, football's going to win out. That's good.
Who's going to win out? Yep. Montclair State, I played a high school game on Montclair State's field. Jersey refs were awful in that game and gave the win to basically handed Glenridge the win in that game.
Fascinating. I feel like in Safe. I think your video's frozen.
Yeah, Safe. You might want to restart real quick with just with the camera. We hear you. Just got a frozen pic.
Hear you. It's a funny, very funny frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, it's mid sentence there.
Safe will be back on.
But yeah, Jake, you had.
I wonder, like, I feel like if like in like 2010 or like I don't know, maybe earlier, like 09, 08, something like that. It would have been a much like bigger deal. That outfield sport was being dropped for esports. Just from like physical education, fitness kind of, But wonder if like we timed that up with like the school lunch thing, how it would have, would have played out. Now it's just like whatever, it's and look, I'm not like knocking esports or anything, just funny.
Yeah, I don't know how that gets tied into athletics and scholarship money and Title IX. That's above my pay grade to try and explain, I guess, how that all works out with the whatchamacallit, your what's it called with your it's Jake's fellow social studies teacher. What's it called? Guns and your money that goes to defense, your money that goes to social programs.
Butter.
Guns and butter.
Guns and butter.
Guns and butter.
Yeah, you'd be stumped on that one.
Yeah, the guns and butter analogy of college money flowing around.
I was like, is he talking about discretionary spending? Like
legal purchases of guns or
is this the ATF? Like
that's what took down Reagan. Ran a contract. Just smuggle them guns.
I'm gonna put in the description for this one. There is an Iran Contra reference made.
Gun smuggling.
I haven't seen Blood Diamond in a while. What a great movie. I don't know
I think I've seen portions of it, but never all the way through. I don't think I've seen
that movie. Rocks.
I just, for some reason, bought The Insider off of Comcast. It was like,
great.
Crap.
What is it? I bought the. I think I have it. I can go grab it in a second. The book for the TV series that's on, was it Disney Plus or whatever, or Hulu, on the Troubles Say Nothing. That came. It's out right now. I think it already like they already aired all the episodes, but it came out like a couple weeks or month ago. I bought the book that it's based off of. It's really good. I recommend it if you're someone who has any interest in that kind of time period, or wants to learn more about that. I'm not all the way through with it. I'm like probably halfway through. But if you're someone who's interested in that kind of it talks about like the development of the IRA, and then it talks about the murder or disappearance of Gene McConville, which is still unsolved. And it kind of frames those two up. So it's it's really not good. There are things I would quibble about, kind of like certain ways that it's kind of framed in certain ways. And I think the way the show does it is even different to the way that the book kind of lays everything out. So like there are certain ways that's I would kind of but overall I think it does a nice job of giving a nice kind of context to that time period. So it was, I'm reading that right now. If anyone's a little history buff, if that one for someone to read, it's a good book.
So nothing else really much going on. Yeah, it's kind of the dead period. Everyone's home for the holidays.
I think that's about everything. I mean, we're getting close. I mean, after Christmas break, we're gonna be a month
Into
out
practices.
from. Yeah, I mean, I think teams come back like second week of January, I want to say. Obviously the Ivy League starts.
Not too much later, the Ivy League anymore. It's like maybe a week now.
With everyone starts. I mean, the Ivy League starts February 15th. So in terms of, I think Ivy League practices start like end of January. I saw what was interesting. The Ivy League is letting the football teams play in the FCS playoffs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
There's a couple of those teams, Dartmouth and Princeton teams the past couple of years that could have made noise in the FCS playoffs. Like not at this level of the Big Sky or Missouri Valley Conference teams, but they could have, gotten an upset or two in the playoffs a couple of years ago. So I think that's going to be an interesting move because we've seen kind of across the board, like since the COVID shutdown, when the Ivy League came back, seeing it in a lot of sports that they're pulling off some big upsets in these tournaments, especially the basketball tournaments. They were too big league in women's basketball last year. So I think it's a point of the Ivy League recognizing that now they're kind of at a position of strength as a mid-major conference and across the board. So why not give them an opportunity to make some noise in the FCS playoffs? Also money. I think part of it also is the kind of writing on the wall about the no athletic scholarships thing. Now that we're in the age of paying the players, that they're going to have to course correct after some of these court rulings go in, that they're going to have to adapt to not being the exception of the rule in college sports. So I think that might be part of it too, in the more cynical side.
I mean, I think we're in just such a transitional phase for colleges in general, but yeah, college athletic. I mean, like seeing these numbers come out, like schools not getting their budget in order, like severe cuts and stuff like that, and at the same time, you just kind of just see this whole new landscape for college. I think it's just like the Ivy maybe just doesn't want to be left out completely, because I think that that's what it always started with, like your students were like high achievers on the academic side, but also athletically fit. That's what kind of the origins of college sports. So like we always say like Harvard and Princeton didn't make like 50,000 person stadiums for like chemistry experiments, like to take a line from the program. Like like they've had these well before what the modern age of sports. So there was always something about like being at the pinnacle for athletics, and they were maybe able to change their ways for a little while. But I think it's just like the money, the drawing, the attention. I think it's all coming into this kind of don't be lost. Like their basketball, I think Ivy basketball is in a really good position. I just watched that great Princeton Rutgers game, over the weekend, and you see when Ivy teams make the tournament, or even win a game or two, like it really does galvanize their fans and stuff like that. So I think like correctly, they kind of see it like, hey, if our players could compete in the highest level of football, maybe it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, but it's just like someone always said, like, what if some Harvard alum was just like, let's just really get into it for the collectives thing, and if they could get them in to the school, but then also if you're a parent, especially the parents are like sending their kids to Stanford, like if all of a sudden like Harvard really wanted to get into that game of football, like Stanford degree is great, but maybe a Harvard degree is even a little better, and if you're getting a little money on the side, like I could see them having a pretty halfway decent team shortly. So I think it's just we're gonna just be in a transitional phase all around for college sports in the next 5-10 years. Kind of
I think too
the
two best parts. Yeah, the two best parts of FCS football are the Ivy League and the HBCUs, and I think the HBCUs having the Celebration Bowl, because the FCS playoffs, like, they don't have the Ivy League, they don't have the HBCUs, but at least the HBCUs have the Celebration Bowl, which is a nice, national championship for the HBCUs between the two conference winners. So now you have the Ivy League in postseason play too. So I think it makes FCS all the more better when you have combination of the two things that make it very interesting, being able to have a postseason presence.
I wonder how much of it is the what was it, the Dartmouth, the union thing, the collective,
Yeah, that's what I was saying before with the cynical
union
side of things. Is this is this kind of because they know the writing's on the wall that they can't get away with the no athletic scholarships deal?
Yeah, I mean, just if if one of your schools is like the central, party, I guess. In that case, that said collegiate athletes can collectively bargain. It gets a little harder to I guess kind of continuing to silo yourself from the rest of college sports in that way. So I think that's it's probably a big factor in it.
Like all of it, right? There was no Ivy tournament and lacrosse, right? I mean, that was just kind of
until 2010
Bangle thing.
Yeah, but that was that wasn't. They were. I think that was more a lacrosse thing than anything to a degree. Because how many conferences?
For sure. I mean, like there always used to be like a kind of
of course,
weird look down upon at playoffs or conference tournament. I remember someone reading somewhere is like allowing a loser a second chance at coming away with something. But it's just like, I think they're just kind of seeing this changing of times, like whatever some of the more stringent values that they had, like maybe are starting to see some more flexibility now.
Well, I think it's a case of, didn't they add a basketball tournament recently? Did they? I believe.
Yeah, basketball tournament's only about 15 years old as well, too. I think the first basketball tournament was like.
Oh, I thought. What did they change?
No, even younger. I'm thinking it's like 20.
It's very
2017.
It's very
they used to hate play conference tournaments in the Ivy. Yeah.
Yeah, they always loved that. They always bragged about having the 14-game round robin.
Yeah, I think that's part of it.
And if they had a tiebreaker, they had a one game tiebreak.
Yeah, I think it's more just trying to preserve this
tradition.
Yeah, this idea of something distinctly, I guess, collegial, and that was before, I would say, I guess probably the March of the expansion of the NCAA tournament and the TV contract with CBS and everything were getting a lot of games on, and then that and the creation of the SEC championship game. The idea of college sports ever being, again, there's always been money in college sports. You can go back to the stories of the University of Chicago paying 28-year-olds to playing college football games, in the early 1900s. It's just been part of, it's part of the, sports, but there was a thing of a bowl game in college football was like a reward, truly. There weren't many of them. It was really a reward for a nice season. It was because the goal was not crowning a champion. Wasn't really that wasn't necessarily a goal in the same way. The NCAA tournament, had you won your conference and that got you into the NCAA tournament. The idea was competing within, the teams in your area. That was sort of, the whole idea of it. The creation of the SEC championship game, things like that, and the massive amounts of money within the ideas of college sports similar to the pros of playoffs and things like that is a more, I guess I should say relatively recent. We're talking, 25, 30 years now at this point. It's more relatively recent, and I think the Ivy League, probably kind of use it as in the sense, of they try to preserve that more, old school, I guess, identity. You watch, I still love college. Nothing of college football today resembles anything I would describe as remotely collegiate in any sort of way. College basketball. The only thing about college basketball is I do think the way CBS covers the NCAA tournament is still kind of has that sort of vibe. It feels kind of there's still some traces of that with the way CBS and cover the NCAA men's basketball tournament, not college basketball for the whole entire season, because then you get like how ESPN covers with the draft and yada yada, but like just the NCAA tournament itself. So I think that's probably been the reasoning, but look, yeah, it's, things are changing, so it's kind of harder and harder to do that.
How much would you attribute that collegiality to the one China moment just being kind of like a continuous thread over like these last decades?
One shining moment, absolutely.
First weekend of the tournament, I think, plays a big role in that too.
It's just the kind of
Absolutely.
it's
The buzzer beaters.
There's nothing like that ever focuses on like they do a very good job of like filtering out everything else. Like they really just talk about the teams and the players and the coaches. And I think there's a mandate within the way CBS covers it to focus on. It's the one time I think the human interest element like works really well in sports. The way they cover it, it's like again, like you like the way ESPN like covers the cut is like it's freaking insane, dude. It's like
it's like watching First Take for 3.5 hours at a time.
It's because I think it's because CBS is not trying to sell anything else in addition to the tournament. Like CBS is going to air the tournament, and the tournament goes off, and that's it.
And then it's time for the Masters.
Yeah, like it's like they're not. ESPN is like broadcasting the college football playoff and also trying to get you to watch everything else on ESPN at the same time. So it feels like you're watching this like package. With March Madness, it's like we are showing you the basketball tournament and we are showing you the players, and that gives the tournament its character. And then, as you said, Safi, it ends on one shining moment, and boom, we're out. All right, see you later. We'll see you. We'll see you again in a year.
See you next year. Here's Jim Nance at Augusta on Thursday.
Yeah, like they're not trying to. They're not trying to. And again, I'm not like trying to look. They pay a crap ton of money for this thing, but like they're not selling. Anything like that. In the same way, I think ESPN does it.
Yeah, you feel like the word vertical integration comes to mind whenever I think about ESPN.
Exactly. There's no vertical integration with the March Madness. It's just March Madness.
Mm-hmm. It's just the basketball. Yeah. Is the tournament as big as college? Like, if we were to rank American sports right now, it's NFL, college football, NCAA tournament?
The tournament itself is... No, I shouldn't say that. I mean, the college football playoff did pretty big ratings this year. So, yeah, NFL, college football, the March Madness.
If we're looking like whole season, put the NBA way above college basketball. But when you have the NCAA tournament, singular, they're around third.
Cultural impact, like attention.
Yeah, non-Olympic year third, Summer Olympic year fourth. Winter Olympic year, probably still third.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty comfortable with that.
All right, want to hand out some presents?
Yeah, so it is the holiday season with Christmas and Hanukkah 2 nights away. Let's give out some... we're playing Santa and giving some gifts to some teams in college lacrosse. So here's the deal. We have 3 holiday gifts that we have to give out. We give one team to have for 2025. What are we handing out to these teams? We'll begin with you, Safe. What is your Christmas?
My first gift, it goes to the Cavs. I wish to bestow upon them a regular season win over Duke in 2025. This proud program does not deserve this ignominious streak. If pump the brakes, Safe. Why do you pump the brakes? But seriously, I mean, of a team with UVA's history, rings, dominance, and for better or worse, either the bane of your existence. Sometimes if you're on a losing streak against them, or you're a huge fan, a Cavs fan, and you love it every time Lars gets a run, especially in tournament time. This one streak, it just sticks out like a sore thumb. Like that. It really is does not make sense when you think about how many titles Virginia has won during that time. They've won. All they do is what they had essentially like a duopoly going on with the Terps, before Notre Dame, kind of put their imprint the last 2 seasons. But it's just something that just doesn't seem to really make sense. And at another sentence, you actually kind of think it does make sense. Just Duke did have a dominant team, and just for some reason it just had UVA's number. But in the spirit of goodwill and peace on earth, I bestow the regular season win for the Cavs against Duke. That's my first gift.
Should I run down the stats?
Yes, we always love doing the stats with this rivalry history.
Duke has won 5 in a row over Virginia. The last time UVA beat Duke was the 2019 Final Four. It was May 25th, 2019. On that date, the number 1 movie in America was. Anyone want to take a guess?
2019?
May
2019. It was probably a Marvel movie, right?
Fast, maybe. Yeah, maybe a Marvel. No.
Wasn't that when Avengers Endgame was out or something?
That was a month before. But, I mean, it did have long legs. Yeah. The number 1 movie in America was John Wick 3.
John Wick, that was it. Yeah.
Wow.
The number 1 single in America. Anyone know?
Number 1 single that time.
Maroon 5? Were they still popping?
Number 5.
Was it like something like maybe? What was the hot summer? Was that Despacito?
It was Old Town Road.
Oh my God! Really?
Oh, yeah, that was the other big one of that.
UVA, of course, would beat Duke in the final. That semifinal and go on to win the national championship. Pat Spencer would win the Tewaaraton Award. It's the last time he ever played lacrosse.
Okay, can we do this game for the last time UVA beat Duke in the regular season?
Yeah, hang on, I'm getting there.
He's building up.
Yeah, we're building. It's just stacking. Yeah. This is like generational trauma. Like. Duke has won 14 consecutive non-NCAA tournament games over Virginia. The last time Virginia beat Duke in a non-NCAA tournament game was the ACC tournament on April 23rd, 2010. The number 1 movie in America was, and we'll take a guess.
Inception came out later in the year, right? In 2010.
Not a bad guess, though. This is a tough.
Was it a Nolan movie?
What's up?
Is that why it was a good? Was it a Nolan movie? Is that why it was a good guess?
No, but I mean, it's Inception. Yeah, I mean that was that year.
Oh yeah. I'm going to go with a Fast and Furious 1.
The number 1 movie was Matthew Vaughn's Kick-Ass.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, number 1 song. So 2010.
Yes.
Is that too soon for Party Rocker Anthem by LMFAO?
That feels in that range.
Too soon or too late is not that.
Black Eyed Peas?
No, but closer in the direction, I would say.
Pharrell? Kanye?
Rude Boy.
Rude Boy by Rihanna.
Why Rihanna?
Oh, yeah. That was her Zenith. Yeah, right up there. 2010s. That was Rihanna.
Duke won the national title, obviously, that year. They beat UVA in the Final Four, went on to beat Notre Dame to win their first championship. I don't know if Ned Crotty is still a Duke assistant. At one point in time, he was a volunteer assistant. He won the Tewaaraton that year. Duke has won 18 straight regular season games against Virginia. 18.
It doesn't make sense, no.
The last time Virginia beat Duke in a just pure regular season contest, no ACC tournament, no NCAA tournament, was April 17th, 2004.
And
It has been over 20 years.
That's what I'm saying. As much as the Hopkins North Carolina thing bugs me, and it bothers me. Like at least Hopkins wins, occasionally at Chapel Hill or
that's the entire Janowski era.
It's like a generation of people people who've gone to Duke have never seen or UVA have never seen the Cavs beat the Blue Devils in the regular season.
George W. Bush was still in his first term.
Is the number one song in America at that time?
That was 50 G Unit era. Like, oh man, yeah.
Is that like Black Eyed Peas?
No, we're kind of in that. We're a little warm. Kind of
ludicrous.
Here, I'll give you a hint. It was a recent Super Bowl halftime show performer.
Oh, Usher.
Yes,
Usher.
Yeah, by Usher.
Yeah.
Dude, this was my time. The odds. Oh man, we were on fire back then. Life was great.
That song was everywhere.
Oh god, yeah.
I'm gonna go 2 seconds out
here. Huge year, Usher. Huge year.
Dude, that was everywhere. Any given moment.
Usher and Ludacris in the club song. Oh man, yeah, it was huge. Yeah, dude, it was great.
Yeah,
the number one.
What a heater for rap and R&B that 2003 to 2005 stretch.
White T-shirt era. Man. Oh yeah, this is great. This is a great time.
The number one movie in America, April 17th, 2004. This was another thing that took over the news cycle for a prolonged period of time.
Passion of the Christ?
Yes.
What a pull ride. What a pull. Yes. Mel, that was Mel's comeback.
The first crazy thing, Passion of the Christ came out February 25th. That was still the number one movie 2 months later.
It took over. No, it was like they told him he couldn't do
Everyone was thinking, are we going to have to do every... Are we going to all do every movie in Latin going forward?
It was oh, man.
In that time, so in this past 20 years, since Virginia last beat Duke in the regular season, Virginia has won 4 national titles.
That's the thing.
Had an undefeated season. And been
just so happened that undefeated season they did not play Duke.
And been
because of the rape scandal.
And been to 10 Final Fours.
That's
10. This has all been easier. It's been easier for Virginia to make 10 Final Fours in basically they made half the Final Fours in that time span. And this has been easier than, beating Duke in the
beating Duke in a regular.
Unbelievable. All right, Safe. What's your next gift?
My gift.
What do you got?
Yeah, we'll go Safe. We'll each write out our own. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Next gift. This is what you maybe thought I was going to give the Hopkins win over North Carolina here, but no, Jake. I'm going to go even deeper. I'm going to give Hopkins the gift of the cannon. 18 years without a title calls for drastic measures. Let's bring back the cannon, even if it's just on the jumbotron. Hardcore Jays fans know, I think in the 50s, the ROTC, literally they brought a cannon out and they used to fire it. I'm sure it was blank, but it had a cannon and they blasted it apparently after every goal. They did we want more, and then it ended with a bang. The school discontinued it. I think after people in the community were like, are we under artillery fire? But it was discontinued in the 70s. But it's just if you always look at the boards, it's definitely something that you see a lot. Or probably for me as well back in the Lex Power days. I'm like, why don't we have the cannon back? But I get it. We can't have the actual cannon out there. But bring it back on the jumbotron.
Listen, LSU people
don't have a dancing crab thing for 45 seconds, which I love. Every game, we can have a cannon. Maybe every 5th goal, fire the cannon off of the jumbotron. But that's something we need. We need to just bring some energy back. I think the cannon, again, 18 years, longest period of time Hopkins has gone without winning a title. I was like, we gotta do something to bring it back. So.
This is true. This is the year 1887 to 05 is 18 years. 2007 to 2025. This is this kind of reminds me of
in this day and age of all these lacrosse teams using hockey goal horns. Yeah, just have a sound effect of a pow.
Just put it on find an old school Canon on YouTube, put it on Jumbotron. There, one, two, three, four. We want more. Bang! For the fifth goal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We want more. Bang on the fifth goal. And every fifth goal, like do the cannon. If we get 20, that would be great. 4 cannons. But that's how we can call games now. A 4 cannon game. 4 cannon game for the Jays. So that's for me. Bring back the cannon. I actually thought I could vamp and get my third one. So I didn't have it really prepared, but I don't know if someone else can go. I can come back.
Well, yeah, we'll go and we'll kind of
That's my first 2.
All right, I have 3. Not specific things, but sort of ideas, or maybe how traits. Maybe we should say. Let's go with. I am bestowing upon the Princeton Tigers the gift of wisdom. Princeton returns 3 freshmen, 2 sophomores, and 4 juniors from last year's starting lineup. So, there is some experience there, but also a good amount of, youth that hasn't necessarily been, through the wars. Kind of the guys who went to that Final Four run in 2022 are kind of all sort of moving their way out. New starter at goalie. Going to be a first-year starter with John Ficarra out in North Carolina. And on the bench, even they return, 3 sophomores, a freshman. So, it is a lot of, youth there, for Princeton. So I am bestowing upon them the gift of wisdom, for, 2025, I should say, some experience, kind of Princeton's had, very rocky last couple, in the season, ups and downs. And they've been able to come through at the end. They won the Ivy League tournament. Their schedule to start 2025 is an absolute bear. Princeton starts with at Penn State on February 15th. They host Maryland on February 22nd, a matchup that has been, kind of talking, just total absolute, boogeyman type teams. That's what Maryland has been to Princeton, since John Tillman arrived when they played. What's that stat that Princeton hasn't led Maryland in the last 5 or 6 games that they've played?
Yeah, especially when they do the minutes. It's crazy. It's over the last 200 minutes.
Pretty well. After that, they follow this up by going to Tobacco Road to play Duke and North Carolina. So that's, we're talking potentially 4 top 10, 11, 12-ish teams, in your first 3 weeks of the season. They followed that up by playing Rutgers on March 8th, a rivalry game at home. Then they get the Cornell game on March 15th. So, it's just a absolute, and they end the year with Penn and Yale. So, it's a schedule of a team, and Matt Madeline's put together that he thinks this is a squad that can win the national championship. I think we all, a lot of people think they're certainly capable of that. So, but it's going to take some, experience, wisdom to kind of battle through, especially if maybe they get off to a tough start, or if they get off to a hot start and, are kind of, living the high life, have the expectations. Man, when's the last time Princeton was number 1 in the country? That's
2009.
It's been a long time, so we kind of saw that last year with Army, it's getting number 1, so I'm bestowing the gift of wisdom to Princeton. My second gift to a team that Safe has been making it well known. He's ready to just get back on the horse. I am gifting the Ohio State Buckeyes the gift of chemistry and cohesion.
Love it.
So Ohio State last year ranked 41st in adjusted offensive efficiency. Their defense was terrific. It kept them in a lot of games. They played just total, meat grinder affairs in Big Ten play, but they struggled to score goals. Ohio State, it's kind of what has been their, maybe potentially the solution here to try and bolster the offense. If you look at transfer production, this, goes to our friend Zach Posey, Lacrosse Reference Pro. If he's in his incoming transfer production rankings, if you look at offensive expected goals added, which is basically expected goals added, it takes every play in the stat sheet that a player has and weights it based on the likelihood that this play contributes to a goal. If you take the total offensive expected goals added from transfers, the teams transfer kind of portal classes, Ohio State is third. A big chunk of their production they've brought in from the transfer portal has been offensive players. Griffin Turner from Hofstra, Ryan Donner from Quinnipiac, a couple guys from UMass as well. They are going heavy in the transfer portal offensively. The last time Ohio State went really heavy in the transfer portal, remember, was 2023. They didn't do as much this past season. 2023, they went heavy in the transfer portal. It didn't go so well. Tough season 2023 for Ohio State, following up that national championship, or not national, pardon me. Making the tournament. It was their first tournament run since they had made the national championship game in 2017. Let me say. So a lot of new faces coming in potentially on the offensive side of the ball. I'm giving the Buckeyes chemistry and cohesion. Can these new kind of voices, fixtures in the locker room mesh well with who they have now? Can it give them potentially a boost on the offensive side of the ball? They got back to their identity last year, but they need they need some juice and some goal scoring. So that is my gift for Ohio State. It is chemistry and cohesion. My last gift I am giving to the Towson Tigers. And I'm giving them the gift of continuity. Towson ranked 15th in adjusted offensive efficiency last year. The Tigers offense was a really the kind of the story of the team, and the big part of what kind of pushed them back into the NCAA tournament. Obviously, Nick DeMeo had a monster year. Mikey Weishar, the freshman, coming in a big time recruit, and Joaquin Villagomez as well. Some other big time talents that they brought in. They lose some of this talent offensively. Nick DeMeo is the main one. So why am I giving the Tigers the gift of continuity? Well, Towson ranked 15th in adjusted offensive efficiency. This was the first time Towson had ranked in the top 20 on offensive efficiency since 2019. It's a pretty good season for Towson. They got to number one in the country. They hosted an NCAA tournament game for maybe if not the first time ever, been the first time in a while when they played Maryland. Towson is not ranked in the top 20 of they have not put together back-to-back top 20 adjusted offensive efficiency seasons in the last 10 years. They've had some good, strong years offensively, but they haven't been able to put it back-to-back. They have not ranked in the top 10 in back consecutive seasons in any, category, offensive defense efficiency face-off since 2018, 2019. 2019, again, good season. So I'm giving Towson the gift of continuity here, that they can continue what their offense did a year ago, the growth that their offense had, and use this to, they're going to be the favorites in the CAA again, use this to, make another push for the, winning the CAA and then into the NCAA tournament and maybe making a run in the NCAA tournament as well. So I give the gift of continuity to the Towson Tigers.
Continuity, that's one of the requirements on the AP World exam.
And change as well.
Change and continuity. I should know as an AP World teacher. So mine, first, what do you give a team that has everything? You always have that person that always has something very hard to shop for. Well, for the Maryland Terrapins, my holiday gift to them is a schedule. Because it's Christmas Eve. And Maryland still hasn't put out their schedule yet. Usually the old running gag is...
We got 3 hours.
Yeah. Usually the running gag is Maryland on the last day before everyone's home for the holidays at 4:45. The athletic department finally says, "Yeah, let's pull the trigger on the schedule." Well, as of right now, Maryland does not have a schedule out. So my gift for Maryland is a 2025 schedule. Next, we have Syracuse, team near and dear to my heart.
I know where this is going.
Now, Syracuse, it would be easy to say, okay, you know it's an easy gift for them in 2025? Finally making another Final Four. It's been since 2013. It's been a long time since they made the Final Four. Well, in order to make the Final Four, you need to have a schedule. And in grand Maryland and Syracuse tradition, Syracuse has still not figured out in their rock, paper, scissors game with Maryland over who has to put out their schedule first. So my gift for 2025, in order for Syracuse to finally reach the land of Memorial Day weekend again, they need to come out with a schedule. Because once again, it is 3 hours away from Christmas Eve, and we still do not have a schedule. They did have for like 2 hours a home game schedule graphic posted, in which they subsequently put it down because they found out Delaware did not exactly agree to whatever agreement they had before. So sorry for everyone looking forward to the Joe Biden Derby, but apparently Delaware is not on the schedule.
What was the date Delaware was on for that one?
Wasn't it like March 6th or something like that?
Yeah,
or thereabouts.
Yeah, because I'm looking, and Delaware is playing Maryland March 8th in College Park. So I don't know if that, has anything to do with it, but that's a new matchup. So yeah, I'm scanning through. Finish your point, Ryan.
Yeah, so they need so we sort of know what their schedule is thanks to reverse engineering, including Harvard, which is an interesting new wrinkle to the schedule. But yeah, we need the schedule there too. So Maryland and Syracuse. This is even later for Maryland and Syracuse standards. So my gift is a schedule. So at least we have some talking points. On a more serious note, I have a gift for NJIT. And I want them to have a great America. I want to give the gift of a great America East run. Because remember, NJIT was the feel-good story of the first half of the season last year. They, were one of the last undefeated teams in the country. They had a great non-conference run. But then when they hit America East play, they kind of hit a wall a bit and finished kind of around where they usually do in conference play. Well, I think what better way to kind of rekindle the spirit of that Cinderella run that really launched everybody to really love their story and how they've grown as a program by putting it all together for a full year. So another good non-conference run, and then they put it on to make the America East tournament would be really, really awesome to see. Because as much as everyone was throwing around the America's team moniker for Army, people forget that was NJIT's title for the good first month of the season. And I think everyone had a lot of fun tuning into their games in Newark and, seeing what they could do each game. So if the Highlanders can keep that going on for a full season, make that next step, make a conference tournament. When you're in a conference tournament and you got house money, anything could happen. How cool would it be to have NJIT make the NCAA tournament this year? So my gift to NJIT, keep that momentum from the beginning of last season and have it go for a full year to really be the Cinderella of the lacrosse world next year.
So Maryland dropped their schedule. Oh, Safe, go ahead, please.
No. Yeah, just let's finish with Brian.
Oh, yeah. Maryland dropped their 2024 schedule on January 4th. Syracuse had actually been a little earlier the past couple of years. They dropped it December 15th in 2023, December 2nd in 2022, and now 2021 for the 2022 schedule, they did drop it to this date, December 23rd. So yes, Maryland's was they dropped it January 4th. Let I'm trying to see other maybe past years that I could find. They dropped their 2023 schedule on January 5th. So, and their 2022 schedule was dropped on well, here we go. I found a tweet from the Crosse Commission at college_Crosse. This was from January 6th, 2022. This was the season, they won undefeated, won the national championship. At this point, I'm left with no choice but to respect Maryland posting several tweets a day of practice content and ignoring every one of the replies asking when the schedule will be released.
You remember when we were joking around that they would just show up at a school and just tweet like 3 hours beforehand?
My follow-up tweet was quote, "You'll get the schedule when you get it." Maryland.
It's just like a red puff of smoke, and that's John Tillman's sign that there's a home game coming.
I watched that movie. That was it, Conclave.
Oh, I saw that. I took my mom to see that. I loved
Good
it.
film.
Yeah, it was great. Ralph is back. Yeah.
Oh man, he's
Maryland just wants us to be scholars and academics and do the work of reverse engineering a schedule. So yeah, it's like, the schedule, do the work. Do your job.
Well, I mean, you can't
I'm sure that's one of Tillman's mantras for his players in practice is
do your job.
Do the work. Put in
Maryland,
the work.
Maryland, you can kind of figure. I mean, they got Richmond February 1st. We all know that. Loyola February 8th. We all know that. They don't have February 15th dropped. Now, this in the past has been the Syracuse date, and guess who doesn't have their schedule out as well? Syracuse. You can probably put together that they'll play Syracuse February 15th. They'll play Princeton February 22nd. They play Delaware March 8th. The week in between that, February 22nd and March is March 1st. They're playing Notre Dame.
I was going to say
that's the Georgia game. Delaware is March 8th. They don't have March 15th out, which does Virginia have a schedule out? I don't think so. Doesn't look like it. So I think you can pretty much put together on March 15th, Maryland is playing Virginia. Then the rest of it is Big Ten play. So there you go. Add in Virginia, Syracuse, Notre Dame. Maryland has a 12-game schedule. It's the same schedule they've had for the past however many years. Just last year they swapped Albany for Brown, and that didn't work out well, really, with Browns. And I mean, also Barnaby beat Mike Daly is now on Maryland's staff, and Brown has a coaching change, so Tillman and Daly probably had that was a relationship there. Torpy maybe didn't want to continue it, so they're playing Delaware instead. Syracuse. Now the thing with Syracuse that's trying to figure out is it looks like there's going to be significant changes to their schedule. February 1st, they're playing Jacksonville. February 7th, they are playing Vermont. February 15th, we said they're going to play Maryland. February 22nd, they got Harvard. March 1st, they have Utah. March 9th, they have Johns Hopkins. They do not have a game scheduled for the 15th, 16th weekend. I don't know who would fit in there. In the past, that's been, I believe, who did they play in that spot last year?
Was Hopkins that week?
No, Hopkins the week before, I think.
Let me see. Let me get their schedule up from last year. Last year I got it up. Delaware.
Syracuse played Delaware last year?
It was a neutral site.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Some Virginia high school.
Yeah, so this year looks like Syracuse is not. So they need a new game on that date. Who's it going to be? We'll see. They playing Manhattan March 18th on a Tuesday. Colgate has moved into what used to be the Hobart spot of March 23rd. Army is not on here, and Army was usually been sometime last week of February. Usually,
Yeah, usually around that.
is
time
Army
frame.
schedule out?
I think it is.
Let
me see. No.
And Army does not have an opponent for March 15th. That might be Cuse Army.
That might be Cuse Army, yeah.
Because Army's got UMass February 8th, Rutgers February 15th, Mercer February 22nd, Lafayette February 1st, sorry, March 1st, Holy Cross March 8th, then a blank date March 15th, but then we get into conference play. They got BU, they play UNC March 29th, Colgate, Navy, Bucknell, Loyola. Is there anyone that's basically the entire conference schedule right there. Unless I'm missing anybody. Loyola, Bucknell, Navy, Colgate, BU, Holy Cross, Lafayette. Is there anybody else? Patriot League? No, because that's everybody. Pretty sure. So Army Cuse maybe moves to middle March. Could be. Which does beg the question: are they maybe playing it at Mikey? Because that's always been the thing when they played in February is that you're not going to play it outdoors. Playing the dome. I don't know. Probably not, but or for Cuse, because after that for Cuse they have Colgate's March 22nd. Cuse is playing Cornell April 12th in Ryan's backyard. UNC's April 26th. Maybe March 15th is conference game. Might be Duke. That could be it. Or does Duke have... Is Duke schedule out? No, Duke's playing Richmond March 15th. So...
You said Virginia's not out yet, right?
No, but March 15th for Virginia, I assume that's the Maryland week. Usually. Carolina is... Cuse is playing Carolina April 26th.
Might even be a week off. They make some...
Yeah, because they do have a Tuesday. They do have the Tuesday against Manhattan, so maybe that's it. That could be it, but we'll have to see. So you can kind of put it together. At this point. But yeah, Notre Dame's not out yet. It's really just it's the last. It's like Notre Dame, Virginia, Maryland, Syracuse, Duke. These last kind of teams.
My last gift, boys. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to give two. My first gift is actually not to a team; it's to a conference. I bestow a 6-team associate or whatever to the ACC. Jake, I don't know if it was a holiday in the state of Maryland, but this is the 10-year anniversary or July was the 10-year anniversary of Maryland leaving the ACC. In 2017, in January, the NCAA essentially denied the ACC's waiver to continue having an ACC tournament, which they were able to have for 2 years post Maryland's exit. But essentially the last 8 seasons, last 7 tournaments, because we didn't have one in 2020, the ACC just hasn't had a legitimate ACC tournament, even though they've had a, I don't want to say make believe, but yeah, what they've called a tournament, different variations, different formats and stuff like that. But let's just get it done. Give them a 16. This is my gift to them, associate, so they don't have to make them a full member. I know that the ACC would never do that. They didn't even call Hopkins AD back, which I'll never forget. They didn't call the Hopkins AD back when he called to see if maybe they would welcome the Jays there, and then Maryland and Hopkins went to the Big Ten. That's all she wrote. But I think it's obvious competitive advantage, just being able to corner the market in terms of scheduling, preferences for yourselves, and then on top of that, let's just have a in conference tournament at the end of the season, just as Ryan originally trademarked, just a blatant RPI booster. And just like competitive balance as well, as we always say, once we have a legitimate new conference, we can maybe talk about expanding the overall tournament, because then, we'd actually have, full conferences everywhere. And it just for, I think as an emergency situation, as 2022 saw, as the Greek said in The Wire, in these unsettled times, it's not unreasonable to carry insurance. And having a conference tournament with an actual automatic qualifier helps it prevent a repeat of 2022. Something that they say would never, ever happen, but it happened. And, as teams get more competitive, and maybe as we move past the COVID booster years, like, a 2022 repeat could potentially happen, or just like one, or less teams that could have made the tournament from that conference, don't make it because they don't have an automatic qualifier. So again, tongue in cheek, but also for real, like competitive balance reasons, just overall fairness, everyone playing under the same rules. The ACC needs to have a 16. We need to stop this. And whether it be Richmond or, they could just get that SMU money running and just get a team in Texas, or, Stanford could get a men's team. They got plenty of dough over there. Like, it just, honestly, it's kind of farcical now for this conference not to be forced to get a 6 team, whether an associate member or full, an actual natural member but as we kind of know, the teams in the ACC don't actually want that to happen, because, if you can get that, that much coverage with only 5 teams and now have to compete with a 6 actual in-conference team is better for the actual ACC teams themselves. So I think that's probably the biggest roadblock of anybody. Just the calls are coming from inside the house. The ACC teams themselves don't want a 6 team. I'm sure the ones that are presently have a men's team. And our favorite celeb lacrosse couple, Jake. It was the Daily Mail official. So I like to bestow a wedding gift to one of our favorite actors, Vanessa Kirby, and shout out to PLL owner and Hopkins alum Paul Rabel. They announced their engagement has kind of been all over the tabloids, and as you guys know, I have an alert for Daily Mail articles that have the word lacrosse in it. So it was great to see. Shout out to them both. Can't wait for Dead Reckoning Part 2. Already waiting for it, Jake. I'm asking you to trust me one more time, as Tom Cruise said. But so that's my gifts for the year. I think that was good. That was fun.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Got anything else? Say what's with this Ohio State? It's concerning me. It's very early.
I don't, and it's just funny because I'm a Michigan fan, with the shorts and all. But it's just like, I think Ohio State, that was that 2017 and the 2019 year, or 2015 year, where they like upset Duke and nobody thought it was. And I actually thought, I was like, oh, I could actually see this happening. And then Myers pulled it off, and then they made that run, obviously, in 2017. So I always kind of felt like, oh, it's just like, this is that power team coming in. And yeah, it's funny because it's like as aesthetically unappealing as their offense can be at times, that defense, that grimy, just hitting, just kind of rough, old school type of lacrosse. It's like a pitcher's duel. There are some aspects. You love the dingers, you love the teams running it up, but sometimes a great pitching duel is kind of fun to watch. And that's kind of always felt with Myers. I think they were just always at the cup. That's why I liked your gift for them, because that's what it really does feel like. It just feel like too restrained or too stifled. Pulling it back instead of going on a fast break type of thing. Just maybe a little bit more freedom, cohesion, as you noted. Maybe that we'll see that this year, because that defense was really good last year, and it was if they could have maybe pulled 1 or 2 upsets, they may have really had a chance on Selection Sunday. But yeah, it's just kind of fun. The meme is kind of fun. Just the the absolute hilarious ways they've lost and just have devastated my pick'em. Like probably had like some amazing pick'em years if it wasn't for my Ohio State love. So yeah, part fun, part loyalty, part just like to see them pull it together. But yeah, I'm feeling it this year. I think that they had a nice nice year last year. That I love their home stadium and the advantage it gives them. So I think maybe this might be the year. But yeah, I can already see me like go reaching too far if they start out 4-0. I'm like, oh, they're back, Jake. It's like
yeah. Meantime, safe time on here. Saturday Night Power Hour. Safe story. February 22nd. Ohio State is back as they move to. February 22nd is a Virginia game. So I mean that might listen. February 15th, after Ohio State played Utah, Detroit Mercy, Cleveland State, Bellarmine, and Air Force.
That's exactly it. Those will be 4-0. I'm like, this is it, Jake. This Lodge better watch out.
It's gonna go all in on that Virginia game.
I think Virginia wins 14-9 or something like that.
That or they find a way to lose one of those games.
Listen, they better not lose one of those games.
Yeah.
Lose with some honor and cover though. That's what I need. Like fucking those times, just cover. Yeah, it would always be like they would kind of ruin the 3 or 4 team parlay. So part of that was just like frustrating. So
Man, we see what do you think about Nolan's new flick?
Odyssey? Is it like the Greek thing, or is that just like a play on words? And
brings Homer's foundational saga to IMAX film screens for the first time. Opens in theaters everywhere, July 17th, 2026.
Listen, let's go, Chris.
I'm there, baby. I'm there.
No expense left unturned.
What's the cast? Tom Holland, Zendaya, Anne Hathaway, Damon's just Damon just tells no one at this point, man, just write me a part. Lupita, our Pats,
everybody
is cooking. Can't wait. I love this tweet.
It just feels anytime he puts a movie, you're just like, all right, just whatever. Whenever's out, I'm there. I will be there no matter what.
I love this tweet from Bilge Abiri. Christopher Nolan doing the Odyssey with every actor in Hollywood sounds like a great idea, and also sounds like something that would have happened in season 5 of Entourage.
Yeah,
kind of does. If you made Entourage like 50,
now that he has his Oscar, is this even considered Oscar bait anymore?
This is pretty interesting. This is kind of outside of his I mean, I guess Oppenheimer now, but Oppenheimer was the first time he had done a real. Was Oppenheimer the first time he'd done a real
biopic?
A biopic or like real life, kind of event? I think so.
No, he did Dunkirk.
Yes, that's true. That's kind of been his new transition now. Dunkirk, Oppenheimer, and I mean the Odyssey, no, but it's kind of sorta, I guess. I mean, but this is like an epic, So I mean, he's done epics before. Safe, talk about things that aged well. My Interstellar praise on the Christopher Nolan, pod we did. They dropped, because I guess they released it like IMAX or whatever for 10 years, and people following my lead.
Listen, I always prescient, Jake, but I have to give you even more kudos just because I wasn't as big of a Nolan guy. I was just I didn't jump into Interstellar, it's kind of have a weird McConaughey thing. Something kind of with Ruffalo. But I told you, Sometimes I just gotta take a stand sometimes, you know. But I remember it was just like one random Sunday. It was like free on Prime. It was literally like probably this like within a year. That's like how late I am. I just really watched it the whole way through, and I was just like, wow, yeah, this is just another hit for him. I was just like, I just always trust Chris. That's what it is. Like even if like maybe not
the problem is it's too earnest. It was too earnest for people.
Oh,
like people were what's the catch here? Like he made like Inception, Dark Knight, and like people were like, okay, what's the guy? Like he can't do like earnest movies. Like why not? Like yes, he can.
It's about a dad who loves his daughter. Yeah, just I felt something. It's cold and cynical at times. I can be you know I felt something, but yeah, no, it was absolutely just a smash.
But yeah, and this is also I guess this is an adaptation, and this will make the second straight. I mean, Dark Knight. I mean, that was adaptation to degree. It's more of what he's done, but it is a little bit of a new kind of thing for him. I was kind of surprised when I saw it. But I mean, like, look, I mean, he can make anything, and I'm there. Again, we talk about this, like there's very few. I don't even know how many I would say that like I'm actually he's the one I'm actually, because like the thing with me is I'm bad at commitment. So like I told myself like Ridley, Gladiator 2, I'm there. And then I missed.
It's not betrayed. That's too pejorative, but like disappointed. Like
you didn't like it?
Quentin, pretty much. I wouldn't put him up there with Chris in terms of like but like it pretty much if it was a Quentin movie, I'm watching it opening weekend. I was like that big a fan.
Yes,
and it really was like, and I'll stand by this, but like that Hollywood, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like I was just like, this is a dud. I told you, I walked out. It wasn't like I was disgusted, but it was just like it was towards the end, and I saw the train. It was either get this train because I had to go all the way to New Brunswick to watch it, and I was like, get the train or miss that train. Wait for the movie to end and then like get home like an hour and a half, 2 hours late. And I'm not kidding you. This is a true. This is
you told the story so many times.
Dunham came on the screen and I was like, that's it. I'm good. And I just walked out. I was like, nope.
The literal Seinfeld walking out of the theater.
I was thinking in my head. I was like, let's just maybe it could, because my buddy loves it. He's like, oh, the ending. He saw just before I did, and then I was just like, all right, saying. I was just like, as soon as she just walked on screen, I was like, yep, nope, trust your instincts. I got up and I just walked right out. Like, and I never got. My buddy told me, I know the whole thing. The fire.
It's good. I mean, it's good.
And I probably have seen it like on YouTube, but I was just like, that day, that was the right decision. And I will forever stand by.
DiCaprio and Pitt like carry it. Like it's carried by like.
I was like. I wasn't really. He's not like a 3 jokes a minute like guy, but it's just like every movie there was like humor, a lightness, like you did the things. I felt this didn't move, and it was just like the 70s were boring. I mean, I know like people love them and they fetishize it and always about the artist. And I was like, this is boring. I felt I was just like, and it's not like I needed to be entertained and got to be a joke, but it's just like there wasn't. I just didn't feel it, and it was really, really weird because I really like Quentin Tarantino, but yeah, I tell you, I saw Lena Dunham, I was just like, no,
it's good. It's good. I mean, I'm very up and down with Tarantino. I mean, like, look, I mean, I think Inglourious is like Inglourious Basterds is one of my favorite movies. Like, I mean, but he's also done some where I'm just like, all right, it was fine, I'm not. I mean, I have to go back and give it another watch. But the first time I watched Pulp Fiction, it got to like 2/3 of the way through, and I'm just like, what's the
what were we doing here? And I like that one a little bit, but the one that for me was like Once Upon a Time, it was Jackie Brown. I was just like, that was another one where it's just like I feel I should be laughing. It's that funny, but like you hear these people talk about it. I was like,
I never like the whole thing of Pulp Fiction. I guess is it's like. The like way that it's like done and like the time like the cuts back like the time like it actively was just like I don't know, that kind of stuff's hard for me, like like you gotta be like really freaking good to like get, and like I just didn't think it was good enough for like at a certain point when it flashes back to Bruce Willis again, I'm just like, all right, dude, I I don't know.
Here? Yeah. No, I hear you. Sometimes there's some of this. I definitely feel that way about Jackie Brown. Definitely feel that way about like Once Upon a Time. But yeah, with Chris, like pretty much, I've never. I'm like the movie people dislike the most. I like Tenet. I'm like, time's gonna tell. 20 years from now, they're gonna like end up, this.
Yeah, and like Tenet, like Tenet is probably his major ones is probably the one I like the least, and like I still find it like it's. I mean, look, Art Pats and John Day, Washington. I mean, like like that. Like it still hits. It's like I word it's like a good buddy cop movie. Like so. Like
I could just watch him and
I didn't love it. It's the one where I feel like he bit off. He got too much dip on his chip.
It wasn't because he was like, it was a pandemic. He's like, I'm going to show this pandemic. I'm just going to drop this movie.
Just go.
And he's like, these idiots don't watch it. And I was like, yeah, I'm here.
I love the one where they ask about it. He's like, people are like, they didn't quite understand this. But he's like, you're not supposed to. You're supposed to feel it.
You're supposed to feel it. That's it. Yeah, it was just a vibe movie.
Like, oh man, that's good. Also, it's like it clearly was him trying to make a Bond movie because they wouldn't let him do Bond. So I don't even know if I would want him to do. I don't know if I want him to do a Bond movie. I was thinking of this again the other day. I'm not a Craig Bond guy.
Ooh,
like it's not against him because I love Daniel Craig.
Yeah,
it's too. They made him Jason Bourne.
Like pre-Skyfall, because I was like, I think
Casino Royale is awesome.
That goes hard. Yeah,
Casino Royale is awesome. Quantum of Solace is okay. I mean, it's good. It's like Casino Royale is now part of Casino Royale might just be Eva Green. Yes, Casino Royale. He's James Bond. Like he's cool and he's like it's the character. Yeah, but I mean, look, I like Skyfall too. Like Skyfall's good because it's different. Like it's different, and it's got Bardem, But it's like by the end of it, I'm like, Casino Royale is the only one I feel like would actually like touch into like Bond. Like, I'm like, he's just a special agent guy. Like he just like goes and does stuff, and there's just very few like, I don't know. It's not like the Bond to me should be like, it's supposed to be. The best way for me to make the character good is to like kind of deconstruct it a little bit. Like, look, this is like one guy's, like sort of like fan fiction about the fall of the British Empire. Like, it's like the best way to kind of do it is, again, to kind of like break it. It's like, I love, like Brosnan. I love Brosnan as Bond because like it's there's a. It's. I'm trying to think of the word. It should be well done camp.
I was just gonna say
is the way I'm trying to think of it. It's like not camp and like the Superman kind of like Christopher Reeve style. And look, there's some merits to that too, like but it's like it should be really well done camp. Like it should be kind of winking and nodding, and like the Brosnan one. There's always like there's so many like funny like stuff they do and tricks and stuff. The supporting cast is really good. The characters, it doesn't take itself too seriously. The Craig ones, I feel like they take themselves so seriously. I'm like, why? Like, what do we? It's like it's James Bond. Like,
I mean, it's hard to say no to the money, I'm sure, so it's easy for me to say. But yeah, like I felt like his arc could have ended with Skyfall, and we would look back quite.
Yes.
Then it would be like 2 out of 3 just hits, to whatever degree you put Skyfall. But Casino Royale, just without a doubt, it's an absolute banger. And that would have just been a good arc, maybe, and then he could have maybe done some different thing. Because I think Craig does actually have like a kind of a. I'm not a big fan of quirky, but yeah, like
that's my point. Like, I think if he could have done it. They just made him play like
they made him a different role. Like he was a square peg and they put him into a round hole. And
it's like he could have done the it's like the whole point. Like the guy should be like there's aspects of the character you have to tone down for because it's 2024, but like the character should be a guy who's foremost concerned with like drinking women, and then also like every now and again he like MacGyver's his way out of, you know.
Well, that's the thing. He should be more Bruce Wayne, and then like a couple Batman scenes. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes. And instead,
you want the charming Bond, the guy who's just like he's just in there. All the dudes are like, oh man, you know, want to be like this guy, and you know, always get the girl type of thing. Like that's what you kind of
it's
think of when you think of Bond.
It's like the only like really good ones I remember, like scenes like post, you know, like some of the best ones I like, and also like and like there needs to be like good supporting characters. Like there needs to be like chemistry in that regard. Like they kind of had this with Jeffrey Wright. I forget which one he's in, but like there's a really like, you know, him and Craig have a good rapport. Like, you know, they play off each other well. But
Yeah,
like,
the Casino Royale, right?
I think that might be yeah. Like Brosnan one had like several like recurrent like characters that he'd like run into, you know, the like Robbie Coltrane's in a bunch of them, and he's really good. Like, yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking about that, you know, like these are just kind of like just like boring, you know. It's like when, you know, they were ever talking like who should like play the new one. I'm like I actually think Idris would probably be bad. Because like I think
I don't know what they would do with it.
It'd be too serious. He'd play it like John Luther, and I'm like, no, I don't like. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, you need more charm. Like I could see if they ever got smart and gave it to Henry Cavill. I think that he'd be a good Bond.
Cavill could do it. Tom Hiddleston could do it. I think.
Should be all right.
Like Fassbender. No, I love Fassbender, but like, no, he's too serious. Like it's too like, you know, too serious. But Henry Cavill actually, I think he's got, you know, he's kind of got that. I think he could do pretty well. But yeah, I don't know, that was just random popped in my.
Yeah. Good Christmas tree for everyone. Great episode.
Yes. So thank you all for listening and for all your support. Hope you guys have a wonderful holiday season. Enjoy your Christmas, Hanukkah, anything else you celebrate.
Indeed.
And we appreciate all the support. We'll be back on the Podomatic. We've got our new YouTube studio thing with StreamYard. We've now got recordings set up on it too. So subscribe again to the Cross Commission Podcast Network on your favorite place to listen to a podcast. We'll have the episodes up on that as well as our YouTube page. You can also follow us on the Everything app, Twitter at college_cross. Not on Blue Sky yet, but you can follow me on either or. So if you want it on the news site with the extreme views one way on the political spectrum, you can follow me at RyanMcD29 on Twitter. If you want it on the commentary and extreme views on the other end of the political spectrum, you can also follow me at RyanMcD.bsky.social or whatever the heck it is.
I think I'm, y'all know where to find me. Should be back with a new, I guess probably after the new year, jumping into conference previews.
Yeah,
there's more realignment again. I was just looking at that. Chris has a good spreadsheet that he shares about conferences, and I think it was also Mark was asking, our good friend Mark Hart, he was DMing me. He was asking for me to pick the favorites who I thought would be in like the it was the teams we didn't have anybody ranked in. So like America East, ASUN, MAC, NEC, and I was looking at some of those leagues and I'm like, wow. The NEC is back with Cleveland State, Detroit Mercy, Lemoyne, LIU, Mercyhurst, Bobby Mill, VMI, and Wagner. Incredible collection of teams. The MAC, Iona, new team.
Welcome Iona.
Debuting 9-team league. Delaware's last year in the CAA. ASUN, ASUN down to a nice tidy 6 this year.
That's a magic number.
Air Force, Bellarmine, Jacksonville, Mercer, Queens, and Utah. So yeah, we got definitely some housekeeping to be done to get ourselves prepared for those, but we should be back with those. And then we will be, February 1st, first weekend of the season. We'll be here Saturday night. Break it all down. So,
That's
very excited. And we'll have our usual, poll that we'll probably, send out our next couple weeks here once we, start thinking it over, putting our, rankings together. But yeah, thanks for following us along this year. Been fun.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait to see it. I'm not leaving you, Elon. It's just, this is the last social media app I'll download. So just find me on Twitter. After that, or I'm just going back, as I said to Jake and Rye all the time, I'm just going to be texting you guys my jokes.
Save's going to go back. Save's going to go back to MySpace. Let's go back to MySpace.
I'm going back.
AOL.
You've gone too far. I'm going back.
We're gonna be grinding back on the message boards.
Signals.
Just Tumblr. Find me on Tumblr.
Fanlax boards. We're going to become posters with a capital P.
Absolutely. You're going to see those little
actually, it's our last
images of toasters with wings. That's going to be like my website.
I'm trying to
actually, because this is the last episode
of the Hopkins game, and I just have to he's just sending out flares.
Exactly. Faxing you, you're going to have to download WriteFax so you can turn it into emails.
Carrier pigeons. Bringing those back, baby.
He's gonna use
Pony Express.
He's gonna use couriers. I'm just gonna get there and someone's gonna come up to me and be like, "Hey,
telegrams."
He's got two horses coming out of Trenton. One's going up the Northeast Corridor to me. Got to cross through New York City into Long Island. Others going down to Baltimore.
Those
it's doable
on the canal. Have a donkey, but I'm on the boat and the donkey's walking on the side of the canal. That's just me coming down the river to Maryland. That's how I'm getting it. Just taking the Raritan right into Delaware River, going to Chesapeake, get a stagecoach from there to Baltimore.
Yeah, and Jake has to meet you there. It is the last episode of the year then, so real quick, favorite sporting moment of 2024, non-lacrosse, because we've done the Crossies back in June. I'm going to say definitely the Mets playoff run for me personally. The Alonso hit a ninth inning dinger against the Brewers in Game 3. The Lindor grand slam against the Phillies in Game 4. Winning more games against the Dodgers than the Yankees did. Mets playoff run. Everything from the Braves Game 161 onward was like a movie. So I'll say the Mets playoff run.
A good one. I think the Team USA basketball. That was actually really engaging. It's people really got into it. It was really exciting. Probably one of the more exciting professional or that type of level basketball games I've seen in a little while. So yeah, and being in France and kind of enemy territory. Yeah, NBA or the Olympics USA men's basketball run, especially their gold medal game.
Personal standpoint, I'll probably go the Commanders Hail Mary against the Bears. Even the one this past weekend. I mean, just all three of these kind of even the one they lost against, the kind of crazy comebacks they've had at home. The one against the Bears, the Cowboys one, even though they lost. You can put in there, and then the one against the Eagles this past weekend. Just been great. I tweeted about it, on both, it's just crazy to see FedEx Field is a freaking dump. It's a portal into the devil's anus. It's just and to see Jaden Daniels in 1 year make it this place where it's magic can happen. Because he's there is just wild to me. It blows my mind. That's probably it really is just kind of crazy to sort of feel this. And that the Bears one was, that was obviously the one, if I were to rank the best moments to ever happen at FedEx Field, three of them, at least 2 or 3 of them are all from this year. It's just crazy. So seeing that how has been pretty cool. From I would say I'd go back to the Olympics. The whole Olympics were great. It was pretty cool. The judo final, where like France had to they had to win to force a deciding match. For, like, it was the team, I think it was a team judo competition. And it went into like golden score, like, so it was tied, and whoever got like the next point won. The crowd was singing the national anthem for like through the whole time, and then they won. And so, to decide who faces off in the final match, they literally, like, pull out like a like Wheel of Fortune, like, wheel where they have the names on it, and they like they spun the wheel to, like, see who had named them, and it landed on Teddy Raniere, who is like the greatest judoka of all time, who like won like 4 straight gold medals or whatever. He's French, and the crowd just goes apeshit when it lands on this guy's name, because it's like that's the guy they wanted. Like, if he gets in, they're gonna win it. So he gets in there. They start chanting Teddy and everything. It felt like it's like a movie like scene or something. And like he gets there and he wins the final match. So France won the team judo gold. It was great. That whole thing was just so cool. The like drama of it, how it plays out. They win to like send it into the final match. They spin this freaking wheel and it lands on their like team captain. They're chanting his name, the crowd, the whole thing. That was super. That was super sick. Last one, and it's not a I guess maybe specific moment, but Rafa Nadal's retirement. Kind of passed on the Davis Cup, and also the kind of the Laver Cup as well. Rafa Nadal is like one of my, really honestly, might be my favorite athlete of all time. Seeing him be like kind of be unable, he tried to make a go of it this last year or so, and it was stop start, but it kind of, the way it happened went kind of talked about, retired. It was, I think he wanted to retire at I think he thought maybe Olympics, and that would have been cool because it was Roland Garros. But also it would have overshadowed, I think maybe the Olympics well. And I think he really wanted to go one more year and retire at the French Open next year. And like if that could have happened, I think it would have been a major story. But it kind of went, because of where it fell in the calendar, November and tennis. Like I think kind of went or talked about. Like Rafa Nadal, I mean, he's just one of my all-time favorite athletes ever. When you think of just like determination, spirit, will to win, he's up there with like, I mean, it's we were joking like who's like what are the all-time like dog in them athletes? Like he's like on the Mount Rushmore. Like it's him, Jordan, Tiger, like for just that specific like those kind of like traits, and really just that it was kind of that entire era of tennis is really gone now. I mean, Djokovic is still going, but even he's got injuries, and it's kind of probably reaching the end. And of course, the three of them, 2 of them are gone. That's it. And that was just part. I think part of when you think of like the last 10, 15 years in sports, like that, is one of the big things about it was like those 3 guys. So that was one I'll throw out there as well. Is Rafa's retirement.
All righty. So on that note, again, hope you all have a happy holiday. Enjoy the darts. The darts are going on right now. But otherwise, yes, we wish you all a very happy and healthy new year as well. And we'll see you on the other side in 2025.
Hit like on the video. That always
Subscribe.
helps. Subscribe to the channel. Put a comment in here if you want. You can comment anything.
Hit the alarm to get notified whenever we drop new content. All that good stuff.
Yes. So like the video, smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and comments help too, I think. So you know what? Comment your favorite sports moment, lacrosse or otherwise, of 2024.
That's good. And remember, don't drink and drive. Stay hydrated.
Thank you much for president.
See you out there.